Right. All right. We are live. Hello, everybody.
We are live.
We are live. Welcome to, the waving skid. Welcome to Pen and Brush Presents today. This is our virtual studio for our monthly reading series. We are just getting started right now. Thank you for joining us. When you get here, we would love it if you could comment, give us a little wave, give us a little hello in the comments box so we know that you're listening and watching. So say hi when you can. We are saying hi to you. I am going to say a few words about pen and brush while everybody arrives, and then I'm going to turn you over to Cynthia and the readers. So my name is Lisbeth Redfield. I'm the Literary Arts Manager at Pen and Brush. We are a publicly funded 501c3 nonprofit. We have a mission to support and promote the work of women and non-binary writers and artists. Normally, we operate in an art gallery where we sell contemporary art and the literary magazine we publish, but these days we are creating content to support artists and writers from our living rooms, like so many others. So welcome. This is our fourth remote event. We are really excited to have you here. Thank you for saying hi in the comments. Kathleen is a regular at the Pen and Brush Presents readings, so it is awesome to see you here. Dawn works at Pen and Brush, so hello, Dawn. Hello, Kate. Thanks for coming tonight. Be patient with us if there's any weird technical hiccups. We're all getting used to this, but I think we're going to be fine. One of the programs we do in person, which Dawn and Kate already know, is the Pen and Brush Presents reading series. And every month we feature readers from small presses, literary magazines, or other series or collectives or literary organizations run by women. Tonight we are so excited to feature Soul Sister Revue and 5 of the readers from their compilation Soul Sister Revue, a poetry compilation. So with that out of the way, I'm going to turn you over to the editor of the anthology and your MC for tonight. Her name is Cynthia Manick. She needs no introduction, but I'm going to provide one anyway. So Cynthia is the author of Blue Hallelujahs and the editor of Soul Sister Revue, a poetry compilation, which came out in 2019. She has received fellowships from Cave Canem, Hedgebrook, MacDowell Colony, and Chateau de la Napoule, among others. Winner of the Lascaux Prize in Collected Poetry, Cynthia was also awarded honorable mention for the 2019 Furious Flower Poetry Prize. A performer at literary festivals, libraries, universities, and most recently at the Brooklyn Museum, Cynthia's work has appeared in numerous publications. She currently serves on the editorial board of Alice James Books and resides in Brooklyn, New York. Most important for tonight, she's the feature of the reading series Soul Sister Revue. So I am going to turn the screen over to her and to our readers. So, Cynthia, the mic or screen is yours.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that lovely introduction and lies and tales. I so appreciate it. Thank you all for coming, you guys. This is a celebration of the anthology that came out in November. I am doing an actual tour throughout New York City. So wonderful curators like Bloom Reading Series, Women Writers in Bloom, but the Bowery have been really welcoming to all of our readers in the anthology, and I appreciate it. So if you are in the chat, I want you to be our chat paparazzi. Meaning, if you hear a poem you like, give us a snap, give us a word, give us a thumbs up, stars. Say you go, girl. Say say Lord of Mercy. So all those things you would do in the real reading, I want you to do in the chat. Because we want to know that you know that we're listening. So to start us off, instead of doing traditional bios, you will see the bios on your screen. And I'm going to do a fast 5 questions with our readers. Okay, so the first reader, Yasmin, are you ready for your 5 questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, number 1, favorite quarantine snack?
Probably cookies and cream, or no, chocolate chip cookie dough, ice cream is probably what I've been eating the most of during quarantine.
Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, only one show can survive. Family Matters or Living Single? What do you pick?
Family Matters. I actually don't know if I'm single, so I feel like,
Really?
yeah, I feel like it's gonna have to be Family Matters.
Gotcha. Okay, in the soul sing off at the pearly gates of heaven, you have Mary J. Blige and Aretha Franklin. Who was gonna win?
Oh, come on. I mean, come on.
You gotta answer.
I mean, Aretha Franklin is like, it's easy. It's a clear,
It's
it's a clear winner there. I mean, I love, what's that one song, Be Without You?
Yeah.
Great song, but Mary doesn't hold up to Aretha in the same way.
Okay, fourth question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why not?
The idea of it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me unhappy. No.
No, a hard no. Okay.
No, hard no there.
Last question. What does soul mean to you?
I will just look back at what I wrote. What is soul? Yeah, I wrote in the anthology, soul is the heart, the meaty heart, and also the whistle of air in the lungs. I think soul is soul and poetry feel very connected to me in that they feel like I don't know, bringing the body into life in this way. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel.
Awesome. Okay, well, the floor is yours. Welcome, Yasmin.
Oh, do I start now? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm gonna first read the poem that's in the anthology. It's called "And I Mourned What I Could Not Name." They beat our tongues smooth. The Kespa shuddered and wailed. I teethed the language, pocked and bloody. The boys crashed into the sand. It welcomed them. In the rain, her hair was a river of petals. My grandfather spoke with a red tongue. A blade is a mirror, is a blade, is a wound. The men hauled their bodies from sea. The mountains vanish and took her too. When I return, the land spits at my feet. There is no shame in this, I'm told. The men crumbled into sand. I watched them. I spun in dust and gravel, nameless and red. Contrary to ache, I still know nothing of guilt. In our mouths, we bled then and bleed still. Her child had my hair and my eyes. There is only heat and forests of smoke. I know there is only light at the end. I know when it begins, it is dark. Contrary to wound, I still know nothing of defeat. And now I'll read a couple pieces from my chapbook, Bone Light. This is called "And the Song of the Swan Drifts." When I was alone in the city, every man spoke my name, called me river girl, mouth sore, Habiba, Habibti. The ovens flared and spit, slabs of meat browning, boys with seaborn eyes slapping the air with folded newspapers. Bees dozed around the hot mess of honey and butter, and I have a woman's body but a girl's voice when I ask for Shebekia, for Zmita, for Msimman. Beyond us, the goats wailed, tails swinging at mosquitoes swollen lazy with their blood. Portraits of our king in every doorway. Every man I walk by imagines our children, his hand on my waist. My mother was in Taza or Kaza or New York. My father was dead or the king or a god. A bushel of mint cost me 1 dirham. The family next door caught me smoking out the window. Later that night, I thought I was dying. I remember lying on the bed, clenching my stomach and thinking, I am dying. Every night that week, I had the same dream. A man knee-deep in water, his hand in my mouth, pushing my teeth into my teeth. Okay. And This is called Our Mothers Fed Us Well. The story begins and ends here, a mouth unopened, the girl buried as she is born, the sky heaving, stars unlit. A man spills God in the humid air, and they all bow their heads. Amen. Piece by piece, the building crumbles, the stone rots. The little mosque at the end of the road, midnight with her sister and her sister's children. Even here, she does not fit. Even here, she is a stranger. The hard cost of English, tongue betraying the skin. All the women and children clustered together like bad teeth. I don't mean to make a habit of these things, but somehow loss trails me. The people I touch turn to stone. Midnight in the little apartment, the city and its lovers sleeping, even the stray dogs quiet, even the begging women and their empty mouths gone. And I have one more. If there's time, I don't know. I don't know how to. I can't really see anybody. I guess I have time. I'll just read one more. Okay, this is called Surah Al-Fatiha. In my earliest memory, a man slaughters a goat in my bathroom. In Rabat, I am nameless, another Moroccan girl to be looked at but not seen. When goats cry, it sounds just like a baby. I couldn't list all the terrible things we do to one another. I remember the goat kicking out, frantic, the shattered mirror, the stumbled prayer. I was sick every visit, my stomach heaving dirty water. I would cry, and everyone else would tisk, murmur, American. Once I kissed someone, and I'm afraid it ruined the world. I've learned that it's not what you do with the knife, it's how you hold it after. But how do you hold something like that? Something that never stops baring its teeth, a voiceless dog, all bite, no bark. I remember very clearly that I never saw any blood. Honestly, I wouldn't even know what to do with a knife. I didn't even know what to do with that mouth. Okay. Thank you so much.
Snap, snap, snaps. That poem, all those poems was fire.
Thank you.
All those poems was fire. Every man spoke my name. Come on, Yasmin. Come on, Yasmin. Chat, what do you guys think? Blow up the chat. Was she not fantastic? I want to see in the chat. I want to see roses. I want to see flowers. Digital flowers, I guess. Thank you, Yasmin. Yes, amen. Fire, heart.
Thank you, everyone. I'm looking at
awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, Yasmin.
Yes, thank you.
Next up, we have the lovely Ilana Bell. Ilana, let me show
I'm just in the backstage. Now I'm here, I guess.
You're here.
I'm here.
Let me see if I can share my screen again. Okay. So we have the lovely Ilana Bell, and this is the cover of her new book, Mother Country, that I cannot wait to get my hands on it. So you can read her lovely bio. She's obviously talented and all that stuff, and she's pretty. Let's move on. Okay, so the real questions.
The real question was my son not 5 minutes ago running naked through this room. Yes.
On a bike. Your son was on a bike naked running through the room. Okay, question number 1. Favorite quarantine snack?
Trader Joe's chocolate bar with caramel sea salt.
Oh, that's a serious snack. That's a serious snack. Okay. What was the last weird thing you Googled?
Oh God, the last weird thing I Googled is I'm trying to remember. My son has me Googling weird things all the time. Oh, he wanted to know about, but I didn't get the answer, but he wanted to know about the ear and why it is designed the way that it is, the shape of the ear.
Wow.
I have a child, so my answers are all going to be special like this.
Okay. At the pearly gates, you see Audre Lorde and Nina Simone. Only one can enter. Who will you pick?
I'm going to have to go with Nina.
I know
Not Audrey?
that is a like really the whole. I mean, you're setting me up, you know. With that question. But maybe I'll be forgiven if I open my reading with Audre Lorde.
That'll soothe the soul at the pearly gates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fourth question. Only one fruit can survive. Pears, plums, nectarines, or grapes?
Pears,
Plums, nectarines, or grapes?
I
It's
just
the
want to say that
apocalypse.
again. Can we just say that again? Pears,
Pears, plums,
plums,
nectarines,
nectarines, or grapes.
It's the apocalypse. Which one will survive?
I think I'm gonna go with the nectarines.
Really? Why?
Well, I really love peaches. That's like,
Mhm.
and since I can't have a peach, that's probably the closest thing to a peach. So yeah.
Okay, last question. What does soul mean to you?
I think soul is your essence. It's the part of you that can't be bought. It's where your creativity comes from, your connection, and your humanity.
Come on, Alana, can't be bought. Let's go, Alana. The floor is yours.
All right. So since I had to make that call between Nina Simone and Audre Lorde, I'm going to open with a litany for survival to bring Audre's voice into the room. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways coming and going, in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward at once, before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive. So, and now the next poem is called Elegy for Nina Simone. Cynthia, I feel like you were like on a psychic wavelength with me. And I'm going to open with a little bit of her song. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine. Throat choke preacher, they couldn't settle you. You threw stones from your Paris balcony, charged $80 a ticket, sometimes wouldn't even play. Just sat there, cursed them, laughed at the children of those same motherfuckers who kept you out of Juilliard, still as deer, hung on every syllable, rushing from your open, damn mouth. The sound of you flesh opening, staining those starched shirts that had never considered despair. Not like this anyway. Low, wolf, moan, make them tear their hair out, make them imagine police stopping them in their cars, their children sitting in jail. Crazy thing though, once that despair got under skin, folks couldn't get enough. You sang it show after sold out show, shouted, Mississippi, goddamn, waiting for some weight to shift so you could finally take a breath.
tireless quest for a justice you could hold in your hand. No more window washing, no more go slow. And those pirates still ain't paid you your royalties yet, not belonging any place, not America, not Africa, not the Caribbean, even your fruit-bearing garden in the south of France, too small to hold that fireball rage. When you finally understood that the fire raising through had rendered you hollow, Malcolm's dead, Martin's dead, Langston, you stopped pushing, dove into the vast ocean, away from people, away from the gasoline smell of greed. On the rare, recent occasions you agreed to perform, wrinkled, still magic, all the while under your breath whispered, I don't belong here, I don't belong there, I've even stopped believing in prayer, this whole country is full of lies, and you're all gonna die and die like flies. You slipped away, almost quiet, but we heard, watched you turn yourself back into wind, an invisible child scattered in all those places you wanted to call home. So this poem is the poem in the anthology. It's called Invocation for My Unborn, and it's dedicated to my son, and it's from the new book, Mother Country. Invocation for my unborn. Little bird, little invisible, do you feel the pull of my silent song? Little bird, little beating heart, I cup my hands to make a world for you. Come, come, little one, yes, I call for you out loud, without shame. Again, I open to the tide of tiny swimmers and pray one reaches center. I've made my heart into a bowl for you. Hungry teacher, little grower from between the worlds, I call you with all my breath and muscle, with this body made to fill with you. I call you from my tunneled center, my millions of eggs, any of which could be you. Call with my blood river, my throat and fat hands, with cooking spoon and iron pan. Little one, little bird, I feed with my mouth, particle grown from seed, treasure, little mystery, little all the names I do not know, little you I cannot find in all my folds, little second heartbeat I swear I hear when I stand at the shore, little all the names I've named you in my second tongue, and all your names mean light. Little stranger, greedy bee, your absent wings tickle my womb. Little rib formed from my rib, little sexless fish in dark waters, little anchor tossed from the wooden boat of our loving, little poem I do not have the words for, little incantation, come, come, through the sea that knows your names, through black night with its stars for eyes, through the wind and all its directions, let it blow you home. So the poems in Mother Country deal with being a daughter, what is passed on from mother to daughter, and then what is passed on to our children, and specifically looking at mental illness and other degenerative diseases that my mother has struggled with. So this poem is called Miracle. What else to call the way the bare branches I'd bought at the neighborhood bodega came back to life that winter? I'd carried them home, dry, wrapped in paper, stuck them in the square vase, and as an afterthought, filled it with water. I don't know when I noticed the pale pink shoots sprouting from the submerged ends, wild, reaching roots like ginseng or the hair on an old woman's chin. Then, tiny green leaves began to appear at the tips, curling over themselves with the sheer effort of growing. I thought they were dead. And now I recall being in the grip of a darkness I did not have a name for and didn't think I'd survive. I could try to describe it for you now, the nights I woke with my pulse pounding through, the heaviness of each breath, how the effort of being inside my body felt like burning. What I really want to tell you is this: how in the parch of that long drought, the people I loved kept bringing me water. Water, though I turned my back and did not answer to my name, though I flung the cup away, let me say it plain, I wanted to die. But something in me, some tiny bulb still alive under all that rotted wood, kept drinking, kept right on drinking. So I want to read a couple more poems. Yeah, I think I'll read the title poem in the book and then one that's actually from, the title poem's not there, so I'll read a different one. I'll read one more poem about my mother, and then I want to read a poem from my first collection, Eye Stones, that I feel like is relevant to the moment we're in. So this one is called Dropping My Mother Off at the Electroconvulsive Therapy Ward. Do I look strange? She asks. The other patients with their flyaway hair and unblinking eyes wander the floor. You look like a movie star. The nurses suggest I get some air. Her eyes widen as I edge toward the door, leaving her in gloved hands, quick for a cure. As a girl, I followed her down any steep or muddied path. I catch my face in the sharp fluorescence of the bathroom mirror. Have my dark eyes darkened? Was that shadow there before? Who will I follow when she is gone? When they wheel her back to me, faint bloom of urine on her gown. What happened in that room while I drank coffee just outside the door? Mother, I've done what you would never do, walked you to the edge, then turned away. And this last poem is from my first collection called Eye Stones, which are poems about Israel and Palestine, and it's called Your Village. Once, in a village that is burning, because a village is always somewhere burning. And if you do not look because it is not your village, it is still your village. In that village is a hollow child. You drown when he looks at you with his black, black eyes. And if you do not cry because he is not your child, he is still your child. All the animals that could run away have run away. The trapped ones make an orchestra of their hunger. The houses are ruined. Nothing grows in the garden. The grandfather's grave is there. A small stone under the shade of a charred oak. Who will brush off the dead leaves? Who will call his name for morning prayer? Where will they, the ones who slept in this house and ate from this dirt? A village always, somewhere, burning. Thank you.
Alana, I gotta call my therapist now. I gotta call my therapist because you done broke my heart. Look at the chat. The chat is blowing up. The orchestra of their hunger. Your endings are just like gut-wrenching. Why are you so dope? Why are you so dope? Why are you so dope?
Ancestors, community.
Thank you, Alana. We can wait to get your new book.
Thank you, Cynthia. And I love that you literally were like Audrey and Nina, and that was literally the
Serendipity. We're on the same wavelength.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. All right, next up to the plate. Who do we have? We have the lovely Yadira. Yadira. Lovely Yadira. Yadira, are you here? Are you ready for your question?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, myself.
Okay, so you see her wonderful bio. She's wearing blue. She's gorgeous. She's talented. Performs around the world. She's wanted by all. Real questions time. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, what is the last song you danced to?
Great question. Oh my God. I think it was like a Leon Bridges song.
Really?
Yeah, I can already hear it right now, but I don't know how I mean, I don't know the lyrics, but it's the one where in the video he's dancing on like a sidewalk. It starts like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, probably that.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with him a little bit.
A little bit? It sounds like more than a little bit, girl.
Yeah.
Okay. The word moist. Are you pro or against?
Yes, pro.
You
Moist?
pro? Yeah, some people hate the word moist. I don't know, but some people do.
I mean, that makes for good pastries. That makes for good, other things, but we won't get into it right now.
Okay. At the pearly gates, there's a soul sing-off between James Brown and Marvin Gaye. Who is gonna win?
That's terrible.
The life is full of tough choices, girl. You gotta make a decision.
Oh man. I think I'll go with Marvin Gaye. Ah! Although I would love to dance to James Brown, but maybe I'll yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
thank you. And you set me up.
I didn't set you up.
You're
Okay,
setting us all up, but it's okay. It's good.
number 4. Who is your dream dinner guest, dead or alive?
Oh my. You know what? I think I would choose my great grandmother, my grandmother's mom, because she has I just want to hear her story. She seems like a really special lady that kind of like lived ahead of her time.
That is a dope answer.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What does soul mean to you?
Soul is, and you know what? I think I want to go back to what I said here.
In the book?
Yes, anthology, everybody, get yours. But yeah, soul to me is expression that comes from the depth of one's core existence, goddess, as an attempt at giving voice to our human experience. What I wrote.
Good answer. Yadira, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you for this space, actually. I think we all need it. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful. And thank you to all the poets too who have shared their amazing work, and the ones that are about to read theirs after me as well. I'm gonna read from the anthology, and yeah. So this is called "Tilling the Soil." Actually, and I want to dedicate this to all women that are facing domestic violence right now, and then I want to shed special light to women in Mexico who are experiencing domestic violence and also femicide. So this is for all of them. She always knew she could move the wind with her skirt, accent the night with the shine of her lips, orient men with her silhouette, like the Franklin Mountains, her smile, the star bringing you home. A warmth they want and suddenly need for their insatiable thirst, yearning and weeping. She left herself there, somewhere on the frontera, in a ragged body that was no longer hers, always for someone else's gaze, someone else's hands, someone else's pleasure, someone else's revenge, someone else's experiment and mistake, doing someone else's work, having someone else's child, cleaning someone else's mess, and still remaining buena para nada. How a goddess could be so confused. How did they steal her happiness? ¿Cómo? The question came from a distant whisper the moment she felt herself drowning in the shame of que vergüenza, cover yourself, bañate, behave, cállate. Don't you see? ¿Que no entiendes? Can't you hear? ¿Que estás pendeja? Are you crazy? ¿Quién te crees? Who the fuck are you? seeping into every pore that she numbed with silence. She awoke, rummaging through a wasteland of broken men, fucking and tossing them in search for lost parts of herself, roaming the city alone, restless, her hunger never as savage as now. Where is the land? She wanted to know. I am made in the image of God, she claimed, an extension of a tierra, a brown and breathing, protecting earth, a drum and prayer song on the soles of my feet, a promising scent of tierra mojada, malleable in my hands, memory and creation in me, growing seeds to heal and nourish me. ¿Dónde quedó la tierra? She toiled in the fields of destruction for what seemed like a lifetime. Pobrecita, they would say, as they witnessed the fulfilled prophecy of her ravaged spirit. The sky is so tall and her eyes so blind that she lives content with only finding where her land was, not knowing she was tilling the soil for herself and all the brown and black women and girls who had left themselves there, somewhere, anxiously awaiting their rebirth. So that's one. Woo! I'm gonna get all of my feelings right now. Okay. I'm gonna do one more, and this is an old one, but I think it's appropriate for now. Whew, I am in my feelings. And this is a worker poem because, you know, that's also for now. Just paying our respects to all workers right now, essential in every kind of way. And I said Mexico in here, but you can insert any country that you would like. So this is called Somos Todos. The land belongs to those that work it, say the backbended and displaced people of Mexico, the nameless and borderless Americans, with calloused hands and gallos feet embedded on squinted eyes that measure time with the brightness of the sun and breaths. Momentary breaths before returning back to work, whose fingernails know the earth too well, the dry and wetness of nutrients cultivating a new seed, life, the union to land, a loyalty of ritual, a knowledge of seasons, a transcended prayer that still lies on humble lips of those who know they know nothing at all. The ones that were left behind in our homelands, in our bones. We are here because they were there. Say the scorched corpses in deserts along the US-Mexico border, the binational breadwinners behind kitchen doors, clean hotel rooms, home deliveries, fresh produce stacks and landscape lawns of the American dream that prides itself on diversity, and our work as educators, activists, lawmakers, Olympians, and artists then demonizes us with ICE raids, stop and frisk policies, police brutality, incarceration, deportation, and the banning of books. There are children in the US retelling stories in the likeness of Anne Frank's, knowing what it feels like to hide, knowing what it's like to be persecuted because of how we look, knowing what it's like to have family members picked up day or night and taken to detention centers for indefinite amounts of time, but also knowing from our inherited struggle that you can hide from the truth. Manifest Destiny never ended, never took a break on shelved history books that put the minds of youth to sleep. It never learned from its past or attempted to humanize its hurt. Instead, it put military forces behind false signatures on insignificant papers the natives warned us about centuries ago. Before genetically modified seeds, before petri dishes of profit turned science against itself with the tireless quest to ravage a whole land, pueblo by pueblo. Another generation pushed, From land to territory, territory to production site to workstation where conveyor belts mechanize bodies around the clock. Life reduced to foreign stickers on plastic items on Walmart aisles, engine parts in luxury cars, fine cloths on democratic tables with globalized agendas of status, reflected in empty mirrors, leaving us with no land, no home to afford, no means of production to own, ni de aquí ni de allá, with hardly anything to lose and a lot to reclaim. Nuestra historia, nuestra cultura, our connection to this land, to Mother Earth, to ourselves. El movimiento sin tierra, somos todos. Descendants of gods and goddesses, somos todos. The ones that are left behind, somos todos. Los trabajadores con papeles y sin papeles, somos todos. The brown and black, somos todos. The dreamers, somos todos. Luchadores, americanos, somos todos. The land belongs to those that work it. The nameless and borderless, worldwide, somos todos. That's it, y'all.
Thank you. The chat is blowing up. The chat is giving you love. The chat is giving you praise that you deserve. Thank you for giving voices to those who cannot speak, with for workers for the land. We so appreciate you.
Thank you
really
so
do.
much, Cynthia. Thank you all. Love you.
Yes. She's amazing. You're right. The chat is right. The chat is right. You're amazing. Okay. Next up, we have the lovely. Maria Fernanda. Maria Fernanda. Are you ready? Are you here?
I'm here. I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was just listening.
Be present, girl. Be present.
Yes.
Okay, as you see from her wonderful bio, she's brilliant. She's in a lot of stuff. She's performed a couple of places. She's changing the world, making it a better place. Down to the real questions. Okay. So,
Ready.
what is your pet peeve?
Promises.
Ooh, that's a therapist pet peeve. Girl, that went deep. That went deep.
I don't want to overthink it. I hate that.
That went deep. Okay. If Gail and Oprah had a fist fight, who would win?
I think Gail would let Oprah win. And I think Oprah would win. But I think she would let her win. You see when they interact with each other, Gail's like, can I say that? Can I say that? You know? I feel like she's like, don't take me off the air, Oprah. Sorry, keep going.
Okay. What was the last weird thing you Googled?
Weird thing I Googled. Jesus. I think I Googled what's the name of the fabric that candles are laid in, which is neoprene. I was like, what is that called? Probably for a poem.
Very interesting. That's very, very interesting. Okay, the last song you sang to yourself.
The last one I sang. Probably Bill Withers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a goodie. He's a goodie.
Ain't no sunshine, which feels super cliche in this moment, but
cloudy day, but yeah. Nice. Last question. What does soul mean to you?
I'm gonna riff off what I put in the book, even though I have it. But for me, soul has always just been when your many selves make sense.
I love it. I love it. The floor is all yours. Take it away, Maria.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. So I'm so glad. I just want to shout out Pen and Brush again, and absolutely Cynthia Manick. She's an incredible editor, and I'm just so glad to be part of Soul Sister Revue. I hope you guys get it. I'm gonna do this a little backwards and actually read something I'm drafting. New shit. If you're from the East Coast, you know what I'm saying. So the last conversation at the Aveda salon. The women laugh and brag about their men. Her brother, her son, no, it was her father who cleared the shelves first of boxes and boxes of bullets, no different than cheap candles. Click, click is the sound their God makes. Click, click, your target is out of water. Click, click, the Walmart is soft counting paper. The line at the corner store's register is out the door. Click, click, we stand 6 feet apart, maybe like a live crossword, but no more like a crowded upright burial ground or any other place we don't have an app for. Click, click, at night outside, their guns make small suns on the walls of my apartment. They're bored, the women say. It's a joke and a prayer, but they don't know the names of who they're praying for. So I live in Arizona outside of Phoenix, and on Sunday, people were shooting outside my apartment, and so I wrote a poem about it. So yeah, let's see. I'm gonna read, so this is the poem that Cynthia selected for Soul Sister Review from me. And it's dedicated to my friend Brisa. And this is after Ross Gay's poem called Spoon, which is so amazing. You guys should check it out. It's called Yours. Who buries bocatitos in their bedroom at 3 a.m? Cara marrollo, its corners she'd bite. Guayaba, always less than a swallow. Dulce de coco for Sundays. Y pilone, the best to take with you. All of them, she wraps them back in their plastic canopies, rolling about her palm like cocoons of her childhood. They arrived home with me that January after Maria in a cardboard postal box, the size of a church pew's songbook, but with its edges kissing between the extra tape to hold, long past the weeks of rising and landing, helicopters, and maybe boats run by hands of postal carriers softening down La Calle, Luz Verdes, before finally returning to work. That mid-October in San Sebastian, where Risa's father drove hours to deliver this mail. He craved the wind. Castañer, Puerto Rico, scribbled in a thinning ink on the corner of the cardboard box, jumping from the jaw of the narrow-ass dented mailbox in the lobby of our New York apartment. To reserve even this first joy for my roommate Brisa, I carried her box to our first door, where Brisa's giggles soar about, and I imagine her every bitch yes sharpening the creases of her smile, like when she lists chemicals being injected into our grocery store peanuts. She shares remedies for sleeping and even befriended this Leo, because we Leos don't be befriending everybody. But Brisa and I hit the floor dancing and swinging our flower-patterned skirts, giving the wind its backbone to Celia Cruz's Demba Colora, to which Brisa laughed like we'd been sisters years ago. Brisa opens her father's box, a limited edition of Cortázar's Hopscotch, the torn news clippings from Primera Hora, with a photograph of El Yunque gleaming before and now, how it reminds Brisa of her father, who would take the shirt off his back to help anyone, or to keep her on the phone all night talking about how the government has helped him more now than ever. When Brisa knows this truth may only be his, or how he says people are coming together a little more every day on La Isla to help each other. But he will not share a hint of danger because he wants Brisa to know that he is okay, that he needs her to stay in New York, to keep playing her guitar, to keep singing, and to remember. He writes that the sweets, the candies will always be how he reminds Brisa of home. They remind him of Brisa, who buries los jibaros all over her room like acorns. The squirrel, like squirrels who savor as a means to keep their memory fresh. I'm sorry, I haven't read that poem in a while. I wrote that poem for my roommate who, her father was still in Puerto Rico when Hurricane Maria happened. And so she hadn't heard from him for about 2 months or so, maybe. And so essentially that was a poem dedicated to her. I'm gonna read a much, much shorter poem. I actually have it in this other anthology called Latinx. Super excited about it. It came in the mail. It's called Brothers Under the Skin after Perry Thomas. I buried my brother alive, once as a joke, with his head burning and his tongue leesome. North American now, he had learned to land a twang into any syllable to its near breaking. He mastered even a Yankee English. He had the last name, the accent, the passport, and the blue contact lenses. I wondered if he remembered. He had our eyes first, the color of syrup, sapped in the spring. We used to sit at the mirror, him braiding my hair and calling us beautiful. I think I'm gonna read one more. I've been thinking about different rituals, and so I went to a really cool event, and this is the poem that came out of it. It's called, this event is for people of color ages 16 and up. It's for Maya. They go by they, them. Maya keeps the living room the color of the clementine rind. We step in, lamp lit. Our skin shines like copper rockfish moving through clear water. We leave our leather and polyester purses lining Maya's wall like selvage. We untuck our yoga mats and Maya gives a brief lesson on which organs are where. Their pitch matches the softness of a drum brush against a snare. Maya, now cupping their hands, teaches us how to massage our wombs, not yet expecting we close our eyes, kneading our bellies. Suddenly, we remember the questions. When will we feel this? Who said that you have time? Many of us familiar with stories of ignored concerns, meeting doctors' smirks sealed in their confident masks. Today, our wombs are without stretch. So we start to imagine just ourselves. I think that's it. Thank you.
Maria. It was so good. Okay, the chat paparazzi is popping. They are giving you love. They are giving you flowers. They're giving you fire. They're loving your head wrap.
Thank you. Cece's Closet support.
Girl.
Brooklyn. Just saying.
Thank you, Maria, for being so awesome and so dope. Thank you. All right, next up, we have the lovely, lovely Mia.
Hi.
Lovely Mia Kang. Mia Kang, are you here? Are you ready?
I am here, yes.
How are you, Mia?
I'm doing good, yeah.
I know, weird question. Okay, so as you see from her lovely bio, Mia is brilliant, PhD student, making the world a better place, publishing all over the place. She's amazing. So, answer her 5 questions.
So scared.
These are not going to be hard questions. Okay, what is your ultimate pet peeve?
Ultimate pet peeve? Clutter.
Really?
Yeah.
Your own clutter or other people's clutter? Your clutter or someone else's clutter?
Someone else's clutter. Sometimes gets on my nerves.
Gotcha. And what is your favorite quarantine snack of choice?
Cheez-Its.
Really? That's old school. Cheez-Its. Okay, I asked the same question I asked Maria. If Gail and Oprah had a fist fight, who do you think would win?
I'm also going to go for Oprah.
Really? You think she has a fist for it? Or you think Gail will hold back?
No, I think it would just, the willpower. I think it would be, a battle.
Gotcha. Will the fish survive afterwards is the question.
Right.
Will they survive afterwards? Okay, at the pearly gates, we have Patti LaBelle and Aretha Franklin. Only one can get in. Who do you let in?
Aretha.
No, Patty? Even Patti LaBelle?
I know, but it's just,
Okay. Question number 4. Who is your ideal dinner guest? Dead or alive?
my sister, Sheena.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's a sweet answer. Okay, last question. What does soul mean to you?
I'm also going to lean on what I wrote in the anthology, which is that soul is the thing under the thing.
Yes, Mia, you're so dope. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Cynthia and to Elizabeth and everybody at Pen and Brush for having us, and to all the other readers. It's definitely been like very poetry light for me lately. I just like don't really care about poetry, to be honest, the past few weeks, but I have been writing a little bit, so I'm going to kind of jump around. I'm going to read first a couple of poems from a series that I'm working on, dedicated to the Korean American conceptual artist Teresa Ha-kyung Cha, whom a lot of people know best for her autoethnography Dictée, which was published in 1982, the year that she died. And the first poem is called Teresa, I Miss You, Elegy. We do not incarnate. I tried to make the kind of knowledge that would make me, bludgeoning the building with my library books. They blew leaves from the sidewalk in an arid eviction, paused for me to pass, and resumed after the fact. We meet up to read since our sociality started failing. In the kind of week when I take quarters to the Coinstar, eating 11.9% for enough cash to do the wash, putting money on the card at the machine. Couldn't I just insert quarters? Removing vodka from the floor with vinegar, mixed drinks a mess in circulation and sticky to spill. Our resolve quickened like sand. A sinkhole swallowed a city bus in Pittsburgh. The stadium booed the Jumbotron. I dare not tell my lover how I hurt. I sing to the dead instead, bringing you into the room. Teresa, I could don white all day and never meet you. I could dig up the pulse in my spine and still not dance. Teresa was really interested in Korean shamanism, and it's something that I've also been reading a bit about, and this poem comes out of some of that research. Teresa, I miss you. Fugue. Don't look at the blue light, Hak-kyung. You are not supposed to be awake now, consulting the screen for clues. How banal to note that you've never touched a MacBook Air. How unfair to speak at this hour and expect a reply. In the videos, shamans dance on sharpened blades with bare feet. First lick the blades, then step up. If you accept the edge, merge with the god, the cut won't take. Or it will take, but not like that. I hear Cam's voice. That meter can hold us against our will, or with it. Or I hear his words in my voice, which is how I find it. I dreamt I saw someone else on the phone with him, calling to learn the results of the hearing. Surely after all this service to the literary community, she was saying, your good name will be cleared. The train reached the next stop, and as I stepped off, I touched her arm. You're Kay, right? I'm Cam's friend, Mia. Still on the phone, she nodded and smiled, and the train moved on. She might have waved her fingers a little as it went. Yes, it's possible to pull back from detail and make a declarative statement. I don't know all the steps, and I don't trust my feet, my ankles crossed under the blanket. The work would be what? To admit to a haunting? To ask which grandmother gave herself to my lover's sight with her eyes closed? The point isn't that I'm here. It's not even that you're not. No need for another diaspora diary. That's too ready to market, and poetry ought to agonize over something. Quite frankly, you're not all that nice, someone told me. I was delighted to exist briefly. The child babbles to calm itself down. I won't let the figure into the frame, holding my ground just to have some on hand. What does the tongue feel, moving in the head as I sound out the words? Like a ghost? Or against the blade, like a muscle, pressed too hard, and the cramps that follow are called dyspareunia. Ah, so desire put me to sleep and woke me up. Looking risks ruin, insomnia in aeternum or oniric onslaught. It's too easy to make meaning mean. Do better, take the hit. Lyricism's a hireable offense, so it suits me. I watch closely where the soul puts its weight on the knife. There's nothing to see here. Disbelief has no place with the dead. The next couple poems are ones that think about, like, how to put this delicately, race in the landscape of American poetry. This one is called Paraprofessional Positionality. The workshop wants me to tell you this poem is about you. Yes, the instructor said, I don't think of myself as being at war or needing to make political alliances. Could whiteness be the ready-made par excellence, wherein a porcelain urinal needs nothing but a pointing finger? He expounds his displeasure at the wealth of Black pop stars, but there's no war. Politics as such distributes differently, which causes problems in our relationship. I want to tell you about the terrible thing, but all I can do is write it down because you're not in the room with me. It's about you, you addressee of the aggravated Asian American poet. And if your people and my people are in our bed, I suspect a sexless perimeter surrounds us. Aren't I allowed a little self-aggrandizement too? My poetry pouts while applying its gloss. The color sticks but comes off on the rim. A trick is to lick the glass before sipping. In my experience, all solutions are equally inelegant. Okay. Absolutely. Ars Poetica. In my next Netflix adventure, I will answer your summons. They requested the voice of the author. I will relearn breastedness. I will call myself half Korean and win back my own face. I will write about lesbian love sincerely while also checking boxes. I will tell you off and take home the check. Meanwhile, my high-minded exegesis will demonstrate that willful living can only delineate the limits of agency, how the individual bleeds out no matter how many frames per second. I will become a performance artist, washing my hair in soy milk. You will find me undeniable, mistaking my light for whiteness, mistaking your blight for witness, mistaking my pyre for fireworks. This one is called Major Feelings. The poets are in mourning. This crisis confuses us because it tells us not to touch each other. The so-called communal calls for antisocial action for once, and we don't know what to do, as always. For we find the social already anti, cause and effect of poetry as such. That's why we hate it, as so many have noted. Our wish regarding power expresses in the righteous refusal to air kiss. We'll click our heels together instead, clinging to origins and fearing the stranger. Unhand me, we tell the world. Disinfect my decisions and administer the complicity litmus test. We'll pass and pass. Is an apocalypse possibly always Orientalist? Is your disaster different from mine? Panic spreads the same every time, bad analogies and misplaced heroics. The Lammies award orientation while the avant-gardists advance the guerre. A war of words won't do, you dubious wards whom I love and whose voices have been sanitized since names came into being as engraving atop the epitaph. And now I will switch over and read a last few that are very new and that return to a series that I was working on in my first manuscript about Vestal virgins, and particularly the figure of Rhea Silvia, who was the mythical mother of Romulus and Remus. Romulus being the founder of Rome in the legend. Let's see. I will read this one first. Rhea Silvia corrects herself. The fire burned too low. So many citizens had taken for themselves, and the girls, exhausted, slept strewn across the temple floor. I wanted to smell the pine trees without the smoke, so I walked to the river. I did not agree that my body should be meted out in buckets of fire. I did not agree that I must study and serve, as if I did not love to swat a gnat mid-flight in the Roman summer, alone on a far path. On the bank, we talked about rage and love, and I believed us both when I said yes. We shared many enemies, so I thought it didn't matter who he was to me. Mars, the worst part, is that I miss you, even though I wish you gone. Not dead, just not. But the world we made with our minds will never not be mine. I can't keep vanishing you this way. It isn't me who should be buried. I came back for you to set it straight. Two more. This one, I'm working on a long poem called The Sexual Status of Vestal Virgins, and this is from a piece of it called Morning Meal, Day 1. Vestal virgins would be buried alive, but because of complicated Roman spiritual beliefs, they couldn't actually be like physically killed by the burial. So they descended into a small chamber that would then be sealed up, and they were left a little bit of food and water. So technically they would die of starvation rather than being killed at someone's hand. Morning Meal, Day 1. The problem is this. I cannot decide whether the spiritual sensibility contradicts the structural one. Do I, for example, ration what has been afforded to me, spreading each sip of milk out over days, or treat myself to a pitiful last feast? Would a stomachful of bread, in fact, dehydrate me faster? Should the oil be saved for last? Would it stand in for sustenance or drink? I have the impulse to douse myself in milk, water, then oil. I have several beliefs. First, that I am allowed to want to die in order to end my assignment. Second, that I am allowed to want to live for the same reason. Third, the first desire remains as analytically correct as the second's persistent truth. I also have some hunches that it is my responsibility to choose, that I deserve to know what I am, that the gift of knowledge would not negate the outcome, would in fact be even more painful. If I am alone in this room, if I undo the vitae and the sine crines, arrange myself among the bones of the others, will you teach me, Persephone, what it means to move between worlds? The opening gets sealed up around the edges. At least this part is up to me. A sip, a bite, and the long wait. And the last one I will read is called Rhea Silvia Takes Stock. What is the feeling? For life to go on, for death to proceed. Let go the mythic register, seizing blood and breath, and pursue fantasy for once. A myth is a tautology, schematic, symptomatic. I made all those statements experimentally, not exactly to see how it would feel, but to see how true I could make them. The story fell apart before me. No epitaph can hold where rites have not been made. That hand will crawl from the stone as smoke, echo, ink. That head will hang from the neck of the living, stealing time. I could call it 4 years, or no time at all, as when one returns to the beloved city to find the poets clamoring with their cups, Vesta's hearth but a singe in the atmosphere, and the damnatio memoriae unfulfilled. I can still place each cornerstone where we found them, in the city, under the city. So much and nothing at all, say the mourners. We have run out of things with which to bury other things. Thank you.
Mia, Mia. The chat is blowing up. The poets are in mourning. That's such a great line. Those poems, the Vestal poems, girl, I can't wait to read it. It's so
Thank
good.
you.
So good. Smooth between worlds. Thank you, Mia. Thank you for sharing that with all of us. We are so pumped. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I am going to also read one poem. Let's see. I will read one poem from the anthology. Before I do that, you guys are allowed to ask me a question because I've been asking you questions all day. But I do have veto power. To some of these questions. Okay, so let's not get too crazy. But yes, you can take it away. How about we start with Yasmin? Yasmin, what is your question?
My question to you is, what is something new you've learned about yourself during this quarantine?
Why are you trying to go so deep? Like a therapist, girl. Okay.
Here's the thing. The thing that I learned about myself during quarantine is that I don't know how to make flan. So it actually doesn't have to be deep. It's totally.
Okay, what did I learn about myself? You know what? I learned that I really love grilled cheese sandwiches. And I say this because I usually don't have them a lot, but since it started, I have been loving grilled cheese sandwiches. And I ordered this blackberry merlot mull jam that is like putting this grilled cheese sandwich game up to a new level. And so I learned that. Yes, I learned that. Okay, Ilana, you're up.
Pearly Gates, James Brown or Michael Jackson?
You biatch. Okay. Okay, you know what? Okay. I'm gonna let James. Okay. That's a hard question. Okay, I am going to let James Brown in because he's older. He needs to be in. Michael Jackson, I will just he needs to be in. Okay, Michael Jackson. I'll let him perform outside first, and then I will like start a revolution to get him inside.
Like he'll be busking for coins like outside.
You know what? I have to get the rebels together and like get him in. But I think James Brown would get in first.
All right.
Only because you have to honor the ancestors. You can dance without James Brown. I mean, he had the first sort of soul moves, so I think we have to let him in first.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see how those
Final
questions
answer.
are hard, though.
I know, girl. Whew. Okay, Yadira, what's your question?
What's your ultimate pet peeve?
Okay, I'll tell you. Stephen King. Stephen King, because he spells his name with a PH, but he says it's Stephen. PH equals F, okay? It should be Stephen King. It irritates me to know, and I can't even date a Stephen spelled like a Stephen. I can't do it. That's it. That's my pet peeve. I can't. It's the English major in me. PH equals F. Oh, okay. That's fine. That's mine. Okay, Maria, what is your question?
I was gonna say, because I feel like everyone's really moved by this question, but like with the Gail and Oprah battle, who would they move as backup? Each of them.
Ooh, okay. That's another level. I did not expect that. Who would be their backup, their seconds? I feel like Stedman would try to be her backup, but would not do a good job. Okay?
That's true.
And I think for Gail, It would be her assistant. No one famous, because no one famous would hit Oprah. So it would be her assistant or her intern. And she would never work there again. She'd be unemployed for the rest of her life. But that's what would be her backup. That's what I think. Okay, last question for the lovely Mia.
I want to know about your quarantine snack.
Ooh. Okay, besides the grilled cheese, I've been eating plantain chips from Trader Joe's. They're like nice and snackable. You can have for a meal or just for a snack. They hit all the right notes. Yeah.
Wait, before you read, you got to answer the soul question too. What's your definition of soul? That has to be heard.
This room of voices coming together to talk about poetry, to talk about life, to talk about breath, to talk about people. I think poetry and soul is the body beneath the words, and we're all doing that. The body beneath the words. Okay, so I am going to read the title poem in the anthology, and it is called, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the lovely artwork by Rico Frederick, because it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cover that he drew for me. I really, really love it. And here's my lovely bio, but you all know me already. So I'm going to read I Wish the Trees Could Sway to Marvin and Aretha. Because sometimes I forget soil can do more than hold wooden or metal boxes. It pulls on elements my shins have long forgotten. There are 7 different words for dirt in French. We hear what is left in the woods, children with 12 fingers or webbed toes. I used to pray for normal appendages. I often stopped myself from talking out loud, singing where others could hear, but we know of hushed tales. Somebody's calling my name about where wounds used to go, to the trees, swinging someone's black uncle or son, sometimes daughters under steady stars, bright as birthday candles we can't blow. But let's not talk of dark histories, of how you and I are still alive, like 3 flowered maples or perennials uncalled, or how standing on a hilltop just over there, with headphones, a seashell of Motown and Aretha, you forget the universe is expanding, that the gods are tired of our sand and stone bones, brutal ozones. The oldest tree is over 4,000 years old. But what if the bark doesn't hold like it used to? The bloom turns shallow because you can die from survival, you know. It's like working 3 jobs, the weight of limbs in winter. So that tree has breathed a lot of shit. Geographic shadows, but soul music can be a prayer. And what if it could reach every spore, every carbonated leaf, note, pollinating dreams like bees down to the root, until every bark vibrates under our palms? And what if Marvin and Aretha can make them remember what love sounds like, and all the wild things come so close, the trees no longer die standing up. Thanks, guys. So that is the title poem and the collection. If you have not purchased it, what are you waiting for? You should purchase it. If you had a good time tonight, please tip a poet. Tip a poet. We have Venmo, we have PayPal, and they all deserve it. Our lovely host, Lisbeth. Questions from you? Comments? Are you here, Lisbeth?
I am. I'm
Did we lose
sorry.
you?
I got tucked away in the corner. Thank you, everybody. Let's see. So we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. I know everybody's time is valuable right now. What do you think, Cynthia and readers? Do we want to take a few questions, or do we need to head off and get on with our lives, put our kids to bed, feed ourselves, feed our pets, all the above?
Questions.
Questions. All right. So folks in the chat, if you have questions, please throw them in the chat. I'm going to start off with one, and you can add yours as you think of them. So one of the things that I really admire about the Soul Sister Revue series and community is the community that you build. And you've all seen how Cynthia is able to build such an amazing community right now. So I'm wondering, to all of you reading tonight, how are you coping being locked up away from your communities in person right now? How are you reaching them? How are you connecting with them? Any advice for those of us who are missing our people right now? You can all, I don't care who answers first.
Well, for me, I'm actually working remote, so I'm actually really busy with my job. But after that, I have to say I'm not really writing, but I am doing a lot of reading. I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm going to a lot of Zoom events, Instagram live events. I am engaging in that way. And I'm also coloring, which is like a weird thing to say, but I have a coloring book that I'm in love with right now. And it's really helping me sort of de-stress and think about the world going in new directions.
That's great. I think I got rid of all of my coloring books, and now I regret it because suddenly...
You should buy some. They have grown-up ones. You should buy
Yeah, I moved a few years ago, and I got rid of them when I moved or something. But how about the rest of you?
I'm a big letter writer. When I was living in New York for the last 8 years, I would have friends where like I'd be living in Washington Heights and they were like in Brooklyn or the Upper West Side, something like that. And I would write them letters because our schedules never like met up. So that's been kind of nice to focus in more on that. I moved to Arizona in November, so I kind of had more of that shock when I left. So now it feels very smooth. So I guess it's been less of a shock. I also am finally finishing books that I feel like I started in New York and then didn't get myself to finish because of my own schedule there. So I'm really happy about that.
That's great.
I'm having a lot of, my community is really a lot through teaching right now. Like I teach a group of senior citizens once a week, and it used to be in person. It was like a poets and writers situation, and we moved to remote, and it's been really for them, I mean, for me, but also for them, just like they don't have, these are New York City seniors that are used to going to like the Met and Lincoln Center, and they're just in their apartment. A lot of them live alone and feel a ton of anxiety. So having the virtual community space in that way has been meant a lot to me also, and to them for sure. And just being with different groups of students and just working in that way has been a big part of my community right now. I'm actually out of the city. We're in, my husband's sister has a house in Rochester, so we're there just because we're both working remotely and we need a little more space than our little tiny apartment in Brooklyn with no outdoor space and a 4-year-old child. So we're very lucky that she is letting us stay here.
And hopefully it stops snowing as well. I grew up close enough to Rochester to know what the weather's like. I hope that it warms up for you eventually.
Yeah, I've also been like weirdly busy because we moved everything online for school. So I've been teaching on Zoom as well. But I've also been doing lots of organizing around the various kinds of things students are asking for in the wake of COVID. So I've weirdly talked to more people like at my school and also at campuses across the country than I ever have before. Zoom is very impersonal, but I personally very much enjoy texting with friends while on Zoom conference calls. To me, that is like mostly the funniest part of my day.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I'll put Zoom on my phone and I'll be in bed in the meeting. And I have camera off.
My phone will only give me 20 minutes on Zoom before the battery dies. I had to do a meeting on it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta log off and go somewhere else where my laptop works because my phone battery is just like poof, gone.
I want to ask about letter writing. I'm just going to say that I do snail mail. I have this whole little wax kit where like you can get it at a convenience store, and so you can burn your own wax and like seal it, and so that whole thing is
I used to have one of those too, and it
Your
got
stonemason as well. What do you do? You have a seal wax.
I try to be a little extra. I'm like, I don't post it to Instagram because I'm trying to be like, this is, that thing that's not posted. So.
Mm-hmm. And Yasmin, did you answer? How are you distressing?
Yeah, I feel like I've similarly been involved in like mutual aid efforts in the area I'm in, which is I'm in like Western Massachusetts and I'm from New York City, and I'm like only just starting to feel grounded in this area, but it's still like really funny to me that only through COVID am I like now starting to connect with people who live here more and like who like I don't know, I feel like I'm like the community is revealing itself to me as we're all like isolated in our houses and far away from those that we love, and also like making friends on the internet is like something I'm fairly used to. Like I was a Tumblr kid, like made all my poetry friends on on Facebook and Tumblr like in the mid 2010s. So I feel like it's an avenue that I'm what is it? It's a well paved road for me, I guess. And I've also been trying to lean into just like doing things on my own because I don't. And I think this is like an opportunity for me to like take a step back from like being constantly engaged with like the internet, with friends, with work. And yeah, so I've been cooking a lot and that's kind of new.
What's you
baking bread? Everyone's like baking bread lately.
I can't find
Instagram, all I see is bread.
I was gonna try, but I can't find yeast. There's no yeast at the stores.
Yeah, you have to go online. You have to go to Amazon and like get backlisted. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you all have quarantine bays, and are they annoying you?
Well,
I'm curious
because my friend asked about this. She's been on my lap the whole time. She's driving me crazy periodically.
Nice. Okay, you guys, the time is now, we've been on an hour and a half. I think we should wrap up, you guys. I'm going to share my screen one more time.
All right. There you go. Oh, wait, it
Okay.
went away.
I got it. Okay.
Justin, spinach and pasta sauce sounds delicious, by the way. I'm gonna respond to the chat because I can. I think spinach is so tasty.
Okay, if you guys had a good time tonight, definitely tip a poet. They're all reading here for free. So definitely, a couple of bucks, a love, a note, an email, all that jazz. If you have not bought the anthology, please do so. Or buy it for a friend. Or buy it for an enemy. You know what? Just buy it. Just buy it. Support indie. Anything else, pen and brush from you?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Cynthia and I actually booked this event back in December of 2019. We've been talking about it for like 5.5 months. Neither of us expected to be doing it online, obviously.
Yes.
But I am so happy that all of the readers were so willing to just leap into doing this virtually. I think right now, I'm thinking a lot about what community means because the community I've experienced around the New York writers and writers all over the country has largely been based on us being in a space in person. So I'm really, really happy that we have the technology to create community even when we're all in our living rooms in Western Mass or Arizona or Rochester. And the fact that you're all watching this also means that we can build a community even if we're at home. So thank you everybody who read, but also thank you everybody who watched and quoted and commented and put something in the chat. That is so important to building a community, and we're so grateful for that. Especially when we know that everybody's time is a lot more complicated right now. So thank you to all of you listeners and watchers and commenters, and thank you to Yasmin and Ilana and Yadira and Maria Fernanda and Mia and Cynthia for being so generous with your own time and energy and words. Folks, as you said, if you're listening and you're able to give back, Pen and Brush is suffering with our doors closed. Book sales are so important. If you didn't catch the tip of Poet, I'll try and post that on our social media tomorrow as well. But there are links in the video description for where to buy Soul Sister Revue, where to donate to Pen and Brush if that's something you'd like to do. But please take care of yourself. Please stay safe. Goodbye. Good night.
Yes. Hydrate and moisturize.
Yeah.
Hydrate
I keep
and
forgetting to
moisturize.
hydrate.
You gotta hydrate, okay? Bye guys. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.